Daniel from riffninja.com, and welcome. This is our third lesson in a series of 3, and it's all about guitar improvising secrets, which you can find out more about at riffninja.com/improvising. And so we've covered the scale. I've gone into detail in the second lesson. I went into detail a little more with the scale and the tonics and the chord progression. So we should have that down now. And now we're going to dig into the next part of it, and that is how to make your scale sound more musical. And one way you can do that is to learn a thing called riffs. And I'm sure most of you, if you're searching for this kind of a lesson, that you will have already tried to learn some guitar solos or parts of guitar solos or riffs or whatever. And all a riff is the notes out of a scale with some personality added to it. A cluster of notes, a group of notes, a little melody. Sometimes it's repeating, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just part of the solo, right? But a solo is made up of a bunch of little clusters or groups of notes all pieced together that come out of the scale. You know, and since we're using this climb, now I'm going to show you one really important string stretch and how you can work off that string stretch and use the scale to join the string stretch. You see, when you use a string stretch, it starts to add personality to your scale, because if you just play the thing all the time like this, I mean, those notes are all correct and they sound good together. It's just that it doesn't have any personality to it yet. And you need to make some personality. Give it some personality. You need to pick a few notes. Some groups of notes are much more popular than others. So that's why you want to learn some riffs or some parts of solos. And then you want to be able to move them around and use them and relate them to the scale. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn to stretch the third string. And it's coming right out of this climb that I taught you. And we're going to bend the string a whole step, one tone. And most of the time when you're string stretching, you're always stretching to the next note up in the scale. And it is in this case, for this string stretch that I'm showing you, that's what I'm doing. So I'm playing on the third string, 7th fret, a D note, in this A pentatonic minor scale, right? And I'm stretching it a whole step to the next note up in the scale, which is either the 3rd fret or 3rd string, 9th fret, or 2nd string, 5th fret. And we stretch up to that pitch. Notice I'm using other fingers in behind it. You don't have to, but it helps. For me, the reason why I use the 1st and 2nd finger isn't because my 3rd finger alone isn't strong enough. It's because I can actually vibrato easier and control my string better if I use the 1st and 2nd finger along with my 3rd finger when I'm doing the stretch. So it gives me a little more strength and a little more control. But you don't have to do that. The idea, though, is to find the pitch. Like hear the pitch and stretch up to the pitch. And once you get up to the pitch, then you mute it with your right hand, just for that split second. And now I'm going to get you to take your 1st finger on the 1st string, 5th fret, and then you're going to run through the scale till you get to the A. Now this scale, the climb, overlaps an extremely common scale, which most people know some form or other of, and that is the 1 position A pentatonic. Just so you know, I chose to take my string stretch, and instead of going up here and playing the scale using my 2 position, I took a little shortcut and I decided to use the A here. Remember I was talking about our root A's in the scale? Well, here they are again. We're using it right away. We're actually stretching the string up from the D to the E and then going right to the A like this. Mute, hit the A, then follow through with your scale. Now this movement can be played in all kinds of variables, and this is kind of the way I'm headed. You see, it doesn't have to be done fast and it doesn't have to be done slow. not all the notes have to be played evenly. Now this is how you start adding personality to an idea. So you need to know where that riff came in the scale. You need to see it. You need to visually see it and kind of understand. And now I'm going to get Riley to help me out. And I'm going to show you just how this riff and this scale work together a little bit. The idea now is to find another group of notes once you learn this first group and join it with other notes in the scale. You want to try and get creative. I look at all the notes in my scale will relate to the chord progression that we're playing because it's in the key of C major or A minor. Starts with a C major, ends with an A minor, right? That's for the simple man chord progression, right? So starts on a C, ends on an A minor, and the A minor is really strong because it's the longest out of the chord changes. The A minor is held for the longest amount of musical time. So it's strong. And now I'm going to go over the scale again, and you can play this with clean. I'm going to have some fun and play it with my distortion, but you can play it clean, or I did for the first little bit. I've just been playing it clean, but now I want to dig into my crunch a little bit and have a little fun. I'm going to take this stretch. I'm going to play it at different speeds. I'm going to play them with variations of the same notes. Like I can repeat this string stretch a few times. Sometimes I even let the stretched E, the D, like this is a D note, and I'm stretching it up to an E, and then I'm letting it ring while I strike the A. That's a little trickier, that's a little more advanced. If you can't get it, don't worry about it. You can start by just going. That particular group of notes is a very important part of a lot of our guitar solos, even now, modern day guitar. But it certainly was hugely influential at the beginning with the blues and with early rock and roll. This string stretch was used in many, many hit songs. So you might say to yourself after you get used to it a little bit and play it a little bit, you go, gee, I've heard that somewhere before, and yes, you probably have. So you ready? Yeah. I'm just going to morph the scale. I'm going to call it out as I'm going and morph the scale and the riff together and play with it a bit. And this is what you need to do to get familiar with it. And, you know, if you know somebody that plays a little guitar, you can teach him the chord progression like I have with Riley. And I won't let him solo, although he did solo for the intro, but, you know, that was I allowed that. That was your one grace period. So get yourself a friend, teach him the chord progression, and then feed him beer and make him play for hours, right?
I do like beer.
Yeah, see? Told you.
There we go.
Another secret. That one's not it. That one's not in the chorus.
That's not a secret.
You ready?
Oh yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. The scale. Now you can take one note at a time, really slow. It's about being on time. I like to shake the string. That's a vibrato. Now they don't all have to be even. But they should be in time. Or if you like to play it slower, it's not about having to play fast, it's about having to play in time. Here's your stretch. If you're really slow, it doesn't matter. In actuality, it's good to practice your stretch like that and trying to get it in pitch before you can go any further. Or even slower, you can go very slow. Still sounds good if you play the notes clear, in time, and only the notes in your scale. So now I'm repeating myself. I'm repeating the bend a little more. Instead of going right back to the A, I stopped earlier on in my descent in the scale, so I did this. I'll do it slower. I really have to contain myself to do it at that speed because it sounds really good when you start to speed it up and get better at it. Notice how I'm emphasizing the A. So now take your scale and work that in with your riff. Notice I went up to the higher register of my scale, came back down and played the riff again. Still out of the same scale. So boys and girls, I hope that this gives you some insight into what to do with your scales. And this can be applied in any key, not just the key of A minor. And you can go slow or fast. The secret is time, being in time with the rhythm. That's about it. You can play one note per each beat or even less, one note for 2 beats or one note for 3 or whatever. As long as you take the notes in your scale, you're good to go. All right. Thanks for giving me your time. If you want to find out more about my improvising course, you can go to riffninja.com/improvising. And good luck and good fun. See you later. Are you still there? Yo, is this camera working? I don't know, man. Okay, I think you're there. Yeah, I think you're there. Okay. Wait there, I got something for you. Okay, for all you girls and boys that are real sharp on learning to improvise, this is a little bonus. Riley and I are going to jam for you. We are your rhythm slaves as of right now for the next couple of minutes. So we're going to play the progression C major, G major, A minor, which is inspired by Simple Man. And you guys can tear it up over us. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. go. Have fun.